Hi guys, it's Mallory Westland and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very important video. Last week I missed a video. I did not post last Monday for the first time ever. I've always posted on time every single week. So this week I am back and I am better than ever. I took a break. I took a week off, hung out with my grandma. She was in town, and just kind of relaxed and focused on myself and just hung out really. So I am back this week with a very important video that I feel like is very highly requested. Something that I watched all over YouTube when I was doing nursing interviews. I would look up nursing interviews, new grad interview, nursing questions and answers, tips and tricks, all of the things. So I'm here today to be helping you guys and just giving you guys example questions that I was asked during all of my nursing interviews and how I answered them, and really just tips and tricks in general when you're a new grad and you're doing nursing interviews. So make sure you guys keep on watching if you're interested, and make sure you follow me on Instagram. It will be right here. I post on there all the time. If you guys want to keep up with me, everything is going to be on there, so go follow me. Anyway, let's get to the video. So first, a few tips, which I'm sure you guys already know, but obviously you want to arrive on time. Because of COVID, I didn't actually go to the hospitals. It was all over Microsoft Teams or phone interviews. So you want to make sure that you're not there too early. You don't want to be like 30 minutes early, like waiting in the waiting room, because they can tell. But you want to get there at least like 10 minutes early, 15 max. But usually I'll get there like 10 minutes early just to sit there and wait for them to get on. Obviously, your attire, you want to look very professional. Make sure you have makeup on, but it's not all like too much makeup. You don't want like colored eyeshadow and all the things. Just very natural, look very professional. Your outfit, obviously you want to be very professional. I wore a dress, which is in the thumbnail, you guys can see it. I wore that dress and I wore a black jacket with it. So I actually wore that for every interview that I had because it was just like perfect, and obviously they didn't know if I wore it before, so I wore that to every interview and it worked. So, and if you are going to the actual hospital, make sure you look presentable. Make sure your toenails are done. If they're showing, make sure you look put together, presentable, and you have to show your personality. And that's the thing, is you don't want to be like and answer all their questions. You want to be bubbly and happy and smiley, because you need to be a people person. You need to be able to communicate with people and smile and make people laugh and be bubbly. So make sure you show your personality in interviews and you're not just like straight to the point. You want to be bubbly and happy. So now I'm gonna get into questions that I was asked right off the start. So the first thing that I got asked in all of my interviews was, tell me about yourself. And I hate this one because it is really, they don't care if you have a kid or if you have a dog or a cat or you're however old, and no, they don't care about that. They pretty much want to know a little bit about you, your background, where you came from, if you've worked before in nursing, if you haven't. They just a little rundown. You don't want to keep on and on and on and on. Just kind of get to the point, explain to them, and put your personality in it too. You want to just tell them your name, and if you're in school, what school you go to, when you plan on graduating, if you're graduating with your BSN or if you're graduating with your associate's degree. You want to make sure that you've been a CNA before, or a PCT, or a nurse extern. Some of your skills that are very important, like if you're dedicated, you're organized, you're hardworking, all of these things are very important in your little them get to know you thing. So for me, when they say, tell me about yourself, I would say, so my name is Mallory. I am a BSN graduate. I just graduated nursing school June 21st, and I am very excited to start my career as a nurse. I'm extremely dedicated, I'm very outgoing, and I'm a people pleaser, and I'm always smiling. My friends always say that I'm always smiling. I am very passionate when it comes to nursing, especially mother-baby. It's a place that I've always wanted to work, and you would say that if you're interviewing for a mother-baby position. So, or if not, you would say, I'm very passionate when it comes to nursing because I'm very caring and I love caring for people. I'm extremely dedicated, I'm a very hard worker and extremely organized. And I am beyond excited to be sitting here today and just having the opportunity to interview with you. It means the world to me. But yeah, I also am a proud dog mom to a toy poodle who is 3 years old, and she is literally my angel. I love her so much. But yeah, that's a little gist about me. Just kind of tell them a little rundown about yourself. But yeah, you're just kind of giving them a few things that are important about you, a few personality traits that you have, and a little bit of a background. And I always put in the end, like, you want to put a little pop of personality. You want to show your personality. So that's what I say about the get to know me part. Next, they'll do a little bit more get to know you questions. So they'll ask you, Mallory, tell me 3 strengths, or Mallory, tell me 3 weaknesses. So you need to know with weaknesses, you want to tell them a weakness and end it with a positive. So for me, I said, one of my weaknesses is that I have a hard time saying no. I'm extremely giving, and sometimes that leads to putting too much on myself. So that's like a negative, like you're saying that you put too much on yourself, which is a weakness, but at the same time it's a positive because you're so giving and you're such a hard worker. So that's like a weakness that you can say. Another weakness you could say is that you're a new graduate, and that is a weakness because against other people, they've been nurses forever. But with that, at the end, you want to say, but I am extremely passionate and very dedicated when it comes to nursing, and I'm so excited to learn and grow and become an amazing nurse. You want to like kill them with a positive at the end of it. Another thing I said was that I'm a perfectionist, and that's one of my weaknesses because again, that leads to putting too much on yourself, but that's a good thing. So you want to, like, when you say weaknesses, you want to do weaknesses that are a positive at the end. Your strengths, you want to say, I said, when they asked me, Mallory, tell me some of your strengths, I would say I'm extremely efficient, very organized, and I'm very responsible. Those are good things. I would tell them that in school I was always extremely organized with my notes. I color coordinated them, and like I would just kind of give them an example of how I am organized, or how I am responsible, or how I'm positive. You want to give them some examples with your strengths. You don't want to just be like, I'm efficient, organized, and dedicated. No, you want to like go into detail about it. Another thing I have been asked was, how would your coworkers describe you? And here's another kind of like get to know you question. Obviously, you're not going to be asked every single one of these questions I'm saying, but it's good to know them all because you never know what you're going to be asked. And I said, my coworkers would describe me as a very positive person, a great team player. They always say that I'm smiling and always positive and happy. And you kind of just want to go into detail about that. They always ask, it depends what kind of department. If it's just a med-surg unit, they'll typically ask, why did you choose nursing? Why do you want to be a nurse? What brought you here to be a nurse? Or they'll say, why are you interested in this unit? What makes you want to be a mom-baby nurse? What makes you want to be in the OR? They'll ask you certain questions like that. I went to nursing school specifically to become a labor and delivery nurse, or anything to do with mothers and babies. This is just what I'm extremely passionate in, and it's where my interest resides. My goal is to be a midwife later down the road, and I feel like starting in mother-baby is a amazing thing for me, and I feel like it gives me a place to grow and learn, and I'm extremely passionate and I want to learn about it. Another reason I'm interested in mom-baby or labor and delivery is because if you ever ask somebody that has had a kid what nurse they can remember their whole life, they will always tell you that they can remember their postpartum nurse or their mom-baby nurse or whatever it is, because that's the person that meant the most to them, because they were helping them, they were teaching them, they were made a big impact in this family's life because they taught them everything they needed to know about their infant. You don't want to just say, I want to be a nurse because I've always wanted to be a nurse since I was little. Okay, everybody says that. Give an example. If you have an example of one of your family members that has been in the hospital and a nurse impacted you and made you want to be a nurse, say that. They want examples is really what they want. Then they will go into, they'll say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or where do you see yourself in 10 years or 3 years or whatever? So with this, they want you to further your education. One thing they don't want you to say is, I see, if you're interviewing for a medical surgical unit, they don't want to hear you say, well, I see myself in the OR in 5 years. They want somebody who's going to stay and want to learn and grow in their unit. this could be going back to school or getting certifications, all those things. Then they'll go into situational questions, and these are the ones that can trip you up. You wanna, before you go into your interview, kind of have some things in your head, like situational times that when you're in the hospital or at work, things that you just have stories to tell, because that's what they want, and they ask a lot of situational questions. One that I've been asked in every single interview is, how have you dealt with a difficult patient or family member in the past? So first, I always verbalize so I would tell them. So first, I always want to verbalize my understanding of the patient or family member and let them know that I understand and that I'm willing to help them. I believe like it's really important for a patient or family member to understand that you're trying to understand where they're coming from and that you're not just shutting them down. I always ask them what I can do to help them, because you want to offer yourself. You want to try to talk to them and figure out what you can do to help, or who you can go get to help, because you obviously always can't help the patient. By the way, I'm talking to you guys, not my interviewer. Okay, I'm just giving you guys some tips. So that's some things that you would say, like with a difficult patient or family member. You always want to try to understand where they're coming from. You want to offer yourself and say, is there anything that I can do to help? And if not, is there somebody I can go get to help? I can go grab my nurse manager or the shift lead or whoever it may be. But you always want to offer yourself and try to, you want to be really nice. The patient's always right. So another question I was asked was, can you tell me a time where you worked as a team? And obviously I never have worked in a hospital before, so for me, I use an example from work. So I've been a server for 6 years, and I've worked in the same place for 6 years. So I just explained to them, well, I have been a server for 6 years. We're a huge family there, and we work as a team, and I believe that there's no I in team, and we all work together to provide the best customer care that we can. If my coworkers are working with me, they know that they can ask me for any help. I am a huge team player, and when it comes to a team, I believe that everybody has different strengths and different weaknesses, and that's what makes a team so amazing, because everybody brings out their strengths, and it just makes a very powerful environment. So I would say something like that. One thing they always will ask is, why do you want to work at this hospital? So obviously this is different for everywhere. They don't want to just say, well, I have some friends who work there and they said it's great. No, they want to know that you went on their website and you did research about that hospital. What is a reason that they stand out about their hospital? And every hospital has a website, and it will point out their strengths. So for example, one of the hospitals that I applied to was a faith-based organization. So I said, well, I really enjoy that you guys are a faith-based organization, and you guys da-da-da, and you go on and on about all the different things. Another hospital I applied for, they are rated really high. So I said something like that. I said that they're 1 in 3 hospitals in my area to have a baby-friendly certification, meaning that they are very about breastfeeding and all of the things. So I went into detail about that, but you just have to go on and do research about your hospital before your interview. They'll ask things like, name a time you had a conflict at work and how you went about fixing that. For they're wanting to know chain of command. So first you try to figure it out on your own. So think of a time that you were at work and you had a difficult coworker or a problem at work that you just couldn't figure out. So they want to know that you try to figure it out on your own. So first you try to figure it out, everything you can do. And if you can't figure it out, you want to go up the chain of command. So after that, I went to my shift lead and I talked to her about it, and she didn't know. So they want to know about that, about chain of command. You don't just jump to some high up person. You want to ask above, but first you want to try to figure out on your own, because you're a problem solver, right? Here's another one. Name a time where you didn't know something at work and how'd you go about getting the answer. So again, here they want to know that you try to figure out answers on your own first. They want to make sure that you are a problem solver and that you don't just, that you're a problem solver and that you can figure out things on your own. And if you can't figure out things on your own, you go up to the chain of command and you figure out it. So that's kind of the same thing as the last question. I've been asked, what is integrity? What do you believe integrity is? So I just said something like, I believe that integrity is all about honesty, and that when you promise something that you follow through with it. Or I believe that integrity is all about honesty and truthfulness in someone's actions. In the all about you part, I've been asked, what are some of your hobbies? And this is kind of when they want to get to know you. This is when they're kind of asking, what do you do outside of work? So that's when I mentioned YouTube. I actually started a YouTube channel about 7 months ago, and it's specifically based around nursing. Since I was in nursing school, I have subscribers who subscribe to me and follow me and all the things. So I said that. So on my first interview, I got asked some things that I was like, what? Like, I had no idea. I don't even know how, I mean, I did well on it, but I don't even know how I came up with the answers. Like, I was asked, name a time you fixed a problem before it became a problem. This, I was like, what? Because if you fix the problem, then it was never a problem, you know? So that's one that got me. I think I said, I described a time I was at clinical and one of our patients was on Xanax, and she told us like her milligrams or whatever, and the nurse was about to give her a wrong amount. So I fixed the problem and I explained to the nurse, like, that's not what she said she was on. So they prescribed her more than she was supposed to be on, and it was an older lady. So I took initiative and told my nurse, like, hey, that's not what she's supposed to be on. So I fixed the problem before it became a problem. So that's like an example. Name a time you helped somebody in need. And this one was hard because you don't think of those things. Like, like you don't want to just be like, well, one time I gave somebody $1 on the side of the road. For this, I pretty much just thought of a time where I helped somebody in need. So for example, when we were in high school, me and my boyfriend now helped a homeless man and some of our other friends. We got him all cleaned up, and we got him clothes and toothbrush and got him back on his feet. And actually now he has a family and he's doing great. And I just kind of explained all the details and how we helped him. So a lot of times they'll ask you, why did you choose this department? Why did you choose this unit? Why are you interested? And why did you apply, really? So this is obviously how you feel, and it's different with every unit. So for me, on one of my interviews, it was for a residency program, and the residency program consists of like PCU unit, which is like progressive care. There was like an ortho medical surgical unit, a cardiovascular med surg unit. There was a neuro unit, which is what I got the offer for. Lots of them, but nothing that I was like really passionate about. Obviously it'd be a great learning experience for me, but nothing was like I was like fully passionate in and like could just go on and on about why I chose that unit, because I pretty much just applied because I was like, it's a good learning experience. That's it. So for that job, unfortunately I wasn't very passionate about it. Like, obviously I want to be a nurse and I wanted to learn and gain all the knowledge I could. So that's kind of what I went off of. So she asked me, why did you choose this residency program and these units? And pretty much I let her know, you know, as a new grad, I don't have as much knowledge as everybody else, as other nurses would. So I feel like these units are amazing because I'm able to, you know, learn everything, take in everything, and there's so many different things I'm seeing, and I just feel like it's a great unit to start off on as a new grad because you're getting a different array of things and you're able to figure out really what you want and what you're interested in and just learn, really. Like, it's all about learning new things and growing as a new nurse. So that's pretty much what I told her for that. But if you're applying to a unit that you're really passionate about, like if you apply to a mom-baby unit and that's what you want to do and they ask you that, that's an easy question because you just pour your passion in and you just let them know, like, this is all I've ever wanted and all that. So I'm rambling on, guys, I'm sorry. They'll also ask, why should we hire you rather than somebody else? Like, what makes you stand out? And that's something that obviously it's different for everybody, but for me, I just said, you know, I'm extremely efficient and I'm very passionate. I've said that a million times. Pretty much just explain to them that you're very efficient and organized and you're dedicated, you're willing to learn, and like, you stand out. Like, just tell them ways you stand out. So that's pretty much it. In the beginning of your interview, they will obviously kind of do a get to know you type thing. They'll ask you about, like, tell me about yourself and your strengths and your weaknesses and why you want to become a nurse, why you wanted to work on that unit. Then they'll go into like, why did you choose this hospital? Then they'll go into like, okay, well, why did you choose this unit? And then they'll start going into situational questions. Name a time you dealt with a difficult patient or family member. Name a time you made a mistake and how you went about fixing it. That was one that they asked me. And I just like named a time at clinical that I made a mistake. With that, you just want to make sure that you learn from your mistake. Like, they're just looking for key things. They're wanting you to answer in a specific way. So there's just so many questions, but they'll definitely do situational questions. I personally was not asked questions, maybe because I'm a new grad. I think when you become a nurse, they start asking these, but I didn't get asked any questions like, your patient comes in with this, and that, like, what would you do? Like, I didn't get any of those types of questions. I just got like, name a time questions. Like, oh, another question that I got was, name a time that you felt like you and a coworker were in danger and what, like, how you went about fixing it, or what you did to solve the problem. A lot of situational questions, but really that's it. Obviously there's many more questions that can be asked, but that was all the questions I've been asked, and more even, because some of those I wasn't even asked. I just had written down on my paper, because yes, before my first interview I was absolutely terrified. So I went and watched a bunch of YouTube videos and like did a bunch of research on like questions that I could be asked, and I actually wrote them down and like how I would answer them, and I studied it because I was like, I want to be able to like answer them well. And it actually helped. I mean, obviously I wasn't like reading off the paper, but it helped because I could remember story or situations that had happened to me. So I highly suggest that you guys write these questions down and you kind of figure out how you would answer it and talk it into the air. Nobody's around. I used to literally just drive in my car and just ask myself questions and answer them, and it really helps. So, or have your mom quiz you, like write all these questions down and have her quiz you and just answer it without, you know, reading off the paper, obviously. But anyway, after the interview's over, it's always good to ask questions, and that's one thing that I learned from watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and my mom was like, make sure you ask questions at the end, because then you want to show that you're interested and you really want this job. So some questions that I always asked were, what is the patient to nurse ratio in that specific unit? And then they'll go into detail and they'll talk for a while about their nurse to patient ratio and all of that. Another question I asked was, when should I expect to hear back from you? That's showing them that you're interested and you want to hear back from them because you want the job. And then really any other questions that you have about the hospital or the unit, or if you have questions about, personally, I don't know if other people do, but I don't ask questions about pay in my first interview. I only ask questions like about pay later on, like when it's coming to the time of like offer letter. So I don't ask questions about pay or like when I'm able to request off, because that's kind of like, or like your vacation time, because that's kind of showing them like, okay, all she's worried about is pay and requesting off. So I don't talk about any of that. I just ask about nurse patient ratio. If I have questions about the unit itself, like, that's it. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned a lot, because I know that I watched so many of these videos when I was doing nursing interviews. That's literally all I watched because I was so nervous. But you guys just be confident and positive and happy and bubbly, and as long as you're showing your personality and you're being outgoing, that's what they want to see. They don't want to just act, they don't want to feel like they're talking to a wall. Just be yourself and answer the questions, and you guys will do great. If you guys have any questions or you need help answering a question that you find online, or you don't know how to answer something and you want some advice, or you have questions for me, I am more than happy to try to help you. You guys can comment down below and I'll get back to you, or you guys can follow me on Instagram and message me on Instagram. I always answer to my subscribers, so if you guys just comment down below or message me on Instagram, I will be happy to answer your questions and try to help you guys out. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned a lot. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and you turn on my post notifications so you do not miss an upload. And I'm telling you guys, next week's video, get ready, because I am announcing what kind of nurse I'm going to be. I accepted a job and I'm not saying what it is, but stay tuned for next week's video. I'm so excited to announce it to you guys and talk with you guys all about it. So make sure you subscribe and turn on my post notifications because you don't want to miss what's coming. There's so much coming and I am just so excited. So anyway, I love you all so much. Thank you for supporting me and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.